Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ozwatch Football. My name's Lockie, and in today's live stream, we're going to be talking all about hot takes regarding the upcoming A-League season, wild predictions. If you've got any, drop them in the live chat in the comments. We'd love to hear from you guys, because as we know, the A-League is a league that's always so hard to predict. There's always some surprise stories every single year in this competition, and it's partly why we love the A-League so much, because it is so unexpected and always so surprising. But the transfer. We're in the fascinating period of time right now where the transfer window has closed. We're still seeing a couple of moves being finalised and announced, but there's just a few weeks away until the A-League season kicks off. So we're building up the hype. So I'd love to hear from you guys. What's your expectations for this season, and what are some of your surprising predictions? And in terms of like ladder prediction, which is, that's a separate video we'll be doing later down the line, close to the start of the season. That's obviously going to be a big one. That's so tricky at this point as well. It feels like there's a lot of teams who have improved and are maybe making a push for silverware this season. And honestly, in terms of like teams who have finished, like who will be competing for that wooden spoon, who will be towards the bottom of the ladder, it's pretty tricky to pick. So in terms of ladder prediction, everything, it's certainly always a tricky one as always. Marcus is coming in here. G'day, Marcus, saying Sydney finished 7th again. This is an interesting one, and Sydney FC are one of the teams that I think we're all really curious to see early on this season in regards to how will they go with this new crop of players that are coming in. They've brought in some fantastic players, but they've lost some top quality players as well. Like Sydney FC, if we talk about the outs this time last week, we did a big transfer deadline day live stream, and we were talking about Sydney FC and some of those departures, like Segacic, Waheem. As we know, Douglas Costa won't be at Sydney FC for this upcoming season. That was announced last week. That was a major one as well. Patrick Lamala departing, Leo Senna. Like, there's a lot of key players who were regular starters there for Sydney FC. Anthony Caceres, another one as well. So when you lose that much quality, especially in attack, I'm a little bit concerned about Sydney FC and how they will shape up this season. But 7th again. Do they like the thing with Sydney FC is that they're a club like Sydney FC are demanding a finals finish year in, year out. And look, if they don't get it, Ufuk Talay is surely gone if they don't make finals once again. But have they done enough in the transfer window to push into finals? There's an argument to be made that, they could certainly push into finals. It's all about how the new guys go settling in the A-League. Victor Campazano, new striker. Piero Quispe looks like a promising signing as well. So, I don't know if I'd qualify it as a hot take, but it is an interesting one there, Marcus. And I'm very curious to see how Sydney go this season. G'day, Cody, who's joining us here in the live chat as well. Ewan, g'day, who says the Mariners won't finish last this season. Look, of course, I'm a Mariners fan. I'm not surprised that a lot of people are expecting Mariners to struggle this season. It's been a really poor transfer window for the Mariners. There's no escaping that. So, hopefully we can push up the ladder this year. Whether we crack finals or not, that might be a big ask. Ethan, I love this one from Ethan. G'day, man. Who says, a take from me is Brisbane and Newey make finals. There seems to be a lot of exciting energy around these two clubs. Newcastle Jets, obviously, in the Australia Cup final, which is huge for that club. And Brisbane Roar, who really struggled last season. And for the last few years, they've struggled. New head coach, a bunch of new players coming in. And some of their preseason results have looked promising. In terms of the players they've brought in, there isn't necessarily any individual signings that particularly stand out, but they've done a lot of work, and there is a sense that the mood around Brisbane Roar is really positive. Troy, thank you very much for the kind super chat, mate. Really appreciate it. Great to see you here. Says I think Auckland will have another strong season, but I don't think they'll win the premiership again. This is an interesting one as well. Auckland FC. I've been sort of drafting. I'm sure you guys have been too, drafting your ladder predictions for the upcoming A-League men's season. I think Auckland FC surely have to be in the top 4 once again. Look, finishing first in their inaugural season. Do they back it up once again? There seems to be a sense that maybe they will drop off a little bit. But you look at the squad, and they've got so many of those players who were there from last season, those regular starters. And they've potentially even strengthen the squad with the likes of Lockie Brooks, Sam Cosgrove coming in, Jake Goodwood-Reich. Look, the real concern for Auckland's sort of the big major one is goalkeeper Alex Paulson. So that's always so hard to replace a goalkeeper like Alex Paulson. Troy, thanks very much for the very kind super chat, though, mate. Really appreciate it. Cody, yes, I will be dropping some of my own hot takes shortly, that's for sure. Alligator, it's good to see you here, man. It says, hot take, the coaches will finish around 8th to 11th, but we'll get some sneaky away wins with good performances, just inconsistent. Yeah, well, which I guess that's sort of what it was like last year for Mariners. Look, Central Coast weren't in that bottom two, but yeah, really struggled for consistency and did grab a couple sneaky away wins last season as well. So it might be that season again for Mariners where we're missing out on finals, yeah. Giuliano, where do you think Brisbane will finish this season? I don't know if they've got enough to necessarily push into the top 6 this year, because, I mean, it's one thing to say that, to be like, yeah, Brisbane will play finals, but then, like, which team is dropping out? You know what I mean? It feels like there's 5, 6, 7 teams who are looking really, really strong heading into this year. So, yeah, very interesting indeed. Very interesting indeed. Brisbane Roar, I think maybe just outside, maybe 8th. 7th, 8th for me at this stage. Victory top 5, yeah, man. I mean, they should be there once again. That should be the expectation, surely, for victory. Well, I mean, they finished 5th last season, didn't they? Melbourne Victory. Made it to the grand final once again. I mean, does anyone think Melbourne Victory will slip out of the top 6? The only thing with Melbourne Victory is you look at some of the key personnel that they have lost. Casey Boss, Ryan Teague, Daniel Larzani, Zinedine Machash. Like, they've brought in some big names. I think there's a lot of names coming into that Victory side who will excite Victory fans this season. Denny Jeanreau coming in, obviously one matter as well. Yeah. Alligator says MacArthur to make the AFC final. I mean, like, that's almost like I don't want to go as far as saying that's the expectation. But just based off what the last 2 A-League teams in that competition have done, like Mariners won the final in 2024. I know it was a different format then. Mariners won the final, won the whole thing, and then Sydney FC made the semi-finals. So for MacArthur FC, yeah, in the Asian Champions League too, they should be pushing. They should be pushing semi-finals for sure once again. And they've got the team to do it, I reckon. I really think so. EB Gamer says, Ben Garuccio, great Sydney signing. Yep, indeed. Oh, love this hot take. Now, this is a hot take. Okay, now we've just been warming up, but Ethan's coming in with a very interesting take indeed. Melbourne City don't make finals. I would categorize that as a hot take, Ethan. Melbourne City champions last season. After a lot of people maybe weren't expecting them to push for silverware last season, and one thing that we shouldn't forget from Melbourne City last season is the fact that they had so many players out with injury throughout so much of last campaign, and they managed to navigate the season so well and make it all the way through to the grand final and win it against their rivals. Look, do they miss out on finals? I personally think they'll be there once again. I don't know if they'll be towards the top of the top 6, but I mean, you look at the outs, you've got Cohen, Tilio leaving, Ugarkovic departing, and they haven't necessarily made any huge moves in regards to ins. I mean, Takeshi Kanamori coming in. He made his debut in the Champions League for City last week. Liam Bonnetig coming in. So I feel like they should be there once again. If City don't make finals with the squad they still have, I think that'd be a bit of a surprise. Yeah. G'day, Hunter. Good to see you here, man. Says, a hot take that I have is that Hiroki Sakai is the best captain playing at the moment, even with the likes of Australian internationals, Craig Goodwin and Aziz Behich. Yeah, I agree. He's one of the best players in the A-League. He was one of the best defenders in the A-League last season. He was superb. So, yeah, I'm not even sure if that's a hot take. I think a lot of people would agree with you there, Hunter. Hiroki Sakai, fantastic addition to the A-League last season. It's great to have him around once again this coming season. A-League get it. Says Wellington get the wooden spoon. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily a hot take, but it feels like they could be towards the bottom of the ladder this year. They've been pretty quiet in the transfer window, haven't they? Troy's coming with a ladder prediction. Let's check it out. Melbourne victory at the top. Auckland, Macarthur, Sydney, Adelaide. Melbourne City in the top 6 there as well. Perth Wanderers to miss out. Brisbane at 9th. Mariners in 10th. Wellington, Newcastle. Interesting. Like I mean, a lot of those generally sort of more or less I agree with Troy, I think. Adelaide is an interesting one. Adelaide, I'm not expecting much from them this season, the Reds. Look, Craig Goodwin coming in is obviously great for them. But I'm worried about Adelaide's departures. Archie Goodwin, Zach Clough, Stephen Mork leaving. Like, I'm worried that Adelaide might slip away a little bit this year. SRB Sports, welcome, says Perth will just make finals at 6 by 2 points. I could see that happening, yeah. It'd be huge for Perth. They haven't made finals for a number of years now. Cody says MacArthur's lost to Taipo was a shock. Yeah, I mean, Taipo were good in that game, to be fair. But, yeah, I think MacArthur were probably aiming to get 3 points away to kick off the campaign. On that ladder prediction, Cody also says Newcastle last is a huge take, Troy. A huge hot take, Troy. I think Newcastle, surely they improve. I think you look at what they've got with their squad this year, and with Mark Milligan coming in, and they're playing an exciting brand of football with Max Burgess and Battleado coming in. I don't know if they'll finish last. I mean, they always tend to be pretty leaky at the back in regards to their defense. So we'll see how their backline shapes up this season. Good to see you here, Lightning, as well. We are talking all about hot takes, wild predictions. If you've got any, throw them in the live chat. Make sure to hit the like button if you guys haven't done so already. We're going to be live for the next 45 minutes or so. Only a few weeks until the A-League men's season kicks off. G'day, James, who says Glory's new shape under Zrilla could be the difference for them to make the 6. It's an interesting one there, James. Yeah, there's been a bit of talk around Perth Glory playing this new formation with 3 central defenders. It sounds like it's a somewhat of a 3-5-2. It's an interesting move, and I don't mind it. Look, it just, regardless of what formation Perth were playing last season, they just were not clicking at all last campaign. But to shift to this new formation, David Zulich, big change. Curious to see how it goes against A-League opposition. They played Melbourne Victory in a preseason friendly on the weekend, lost that game 1-0. But I don't mind it. You've got Brian Kautak, Scott Wooten, defenders there in that back 3. Majeka Dumni, I think, started on the weekend as well. So, will it lead them to a finals finish? That's the question. And on that, Ewan says Perth make top 4. That's a hot take. That's certainly a hot take. Considering the last few years that Perth have had, yeah, if they make finals, that's a huge success for Perth Glory. And they've built an ambitious squad. That's the thing as well. They've built a squad that has the expectation that they'll be playing finals, I think. Wow, that's a hot take as well. SRB says Hayden Matthews will come back to the league next year and go to Bulls. That'd be surprising. Hayden Matthews, who has had limited game time at Portsmouth so far this season. I'd be surprised by that. I'd be surprised. Hey, if he was to return to the A-League, even if it was just like a loan, I'm sure he would head back to the Sky Blues. But having said that, I mean, it seems to be a bit of a trend at the moment. A lot of players going from Sydney FC to MacArthur. We've seen Luke Bratton, now Anthony Caceres. I'm sure there's been a bunch of others as well who have played for both Sydney FC and MacArthur. Interesting one from Hunter here in regards to managers. And it's always an interesting discussion surrounding managers and who's under pressure heading into the season. Hunter says Ufuk Tali will have a horror season but won't be fired like Zadkovic with the Raw and will thus miss out on signing John Anastasiades, who is deserving of a call-up to a head coach role in the A-League. He's been fantastic with Heidelberg United. I mean, surely, dude, if Sydney FC miss finals once again, Tale's gone for sure. for sure. A lot of Sydney fans were very surprised that Ufuk Talay was given another contract extension for this upcoming campaign. Hey? We've got Lightning coming in here with a top 6 prediction. Love it. Wanderers first. Interesting. Wanderers in first. City second. Mariners third. Dude. Brisbane fourth. Perth fifth. Sydney sixth. Dude, that's a hot take for sure. Dude, that's a huge hot take, top 6. I mean, first, like Wanderers first, that would be huge. Look, I think it's not out of the realm of possibility. Like, I think Wanderers signings this season have been really, really good. Barbarouses is a good signing. Thurgate, great signing. Ugarkovic coming in. The only concern for Wanderers is they still haven't really signed a replacement for Nicholas Milanovic. But yeah, that's definitely a hot take, I reckon. Even like being a Mariners fan, to see Mariners in third, I mean, that would be incredible. Incredible. We've got one coming in here saying Phoenix will do even worse this year. Like, yeah, I don't think a lot of people are expecting Phoenix to push into the 6 this year, unfortunately. And a lot of that's just you look at the transfer window, and they've lost Costa Barbarouses, Scott Wootton, Sam Sutton. Look, the signings that they have made are interesting. But yeah, you look at the squad and you think might not be able to crack the 6 this year. G'day, Chuck Meat, dropping in his ladder prediction. Love it. Auckland at the top. Victory City there as well. Wanderers Sydney Jets in the 6. Interesting. Adelaide, Macarthur, Brisbane, Perth, Wellington, Mariners. I think a lot of people would sort of more or less agree with your ladder prediction there, Chuck Mead. I think, look, Newcastle Jets in the 6 is interesting. I think, here's the thing, right? This seems to happen a lot where like a team will have a really promising run in the Australia Cup. But that doesn't always convert to success in the A-League. Doesn't always. So it's all about how Newcastle Jets go this season, and can they sort of maintain some consistency, get some results, get the results at home that they need to be a strong side this campaign as well. I did hear that, Cody, yes. Hopefully we do see Macarthur and Auckland's women's teams are in the competition soon enough. Ooh, this is an interesting one. I like this one from Elizel. I like this one. What do you guys think of this? Ufuk Talay. Elizel here says Ufuk Talay will be sacked mid-season with John Aloisi returning to the club as the replacement. I could see this happening. I could really, really see this happening. It feels like it makes sense. You know what I mean? It feels like it makes sense. Look, I think in terms of managers who are under pressure heading into this season, Ufuk Talay is up there. There's no denying that. There's no arguing that. Sydney FC, huge shock that they missed out on finals football last season with the team that they had. They had so much attacking talent, and they didn't finish in the top 6, which is just incredible. So if Sydney make a poor start this season, if we end the calendar year, if we enter 2026 and Sydney FC are outside the top 6, I think Ufuk Talay is gone. I think Sydney FC can't afford to continue to struggle, or even if they're just having like a mediocre season where they're sort of hovering just outside the top 6, like the Sky Blues, a club like Sydney FC won't tolerate that. At least, yeah, that's my expectation at least. But John Aloisi coming in, obviously former Western United head coach. He used to play for Sydney FC. I could see it happening. Man. Kind of makes sense. Ooh, that's a hot take as well. Lightning says, I think Perth will win the A-League final, the grand final. That'd be huge. Like, dude, if they make finals, that's already a big achievement. If Perth go all the way and win the grand final, that would be that's certainly a hot take. That's certainly a hot take. Ooh, Jordan here. G'day, Jordan, who says Auckland's horror start to this season, lose the first 3 or 4 games, 3 out of 4 games, then bounce back and make a deep finals run. Yeah, like they should be. They should be there. They should be there in the top six. Somewhere in the top six come the end of the season as well. Yeah. We've got a question for me. Cody asks, do you think the season should be longer? Big yes. Huge yes. Yeah, I think we all would want the season to be longer. Absolutely. It's one of the things, yeah, it's something that I've actually said a lot on this channel. Like, it's one of the first things I would change if I was in charge of the A-Leagues. And look, who knows whether there's, financial constraints or whatever sort of affecting that decision. But one of the biggest things that the A-League needs to change, is to make the season longer. The off-season is far too long. And you guys know it. We're literally, we're still almost a month, just under a month out from the kickoff of the season. And, it feels like forever ago thinking back to the A-League Men's Grand Final, Melbourne City, Melbourne Victory. Feels like ages ago. Feels like a year ago. The off-season is far too long, and it's affecting people's engagement with the competition. So if you want people to be invested, you need more games. The season needs to be longer. It's one of the first things that I would change. Absolutely. So that's definitely something I'm passionate about. As Troy says here as well, off-season feels like another season gone by. Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's so many months. And even like even that the last season's grand final, feels like ages ago. Thinking back to all the teams who didn't even make finals, they finished their seasons like the end of April or something. April, and we're closing in on October. April feels like the start of the year. October, the Christmas items already out in the grocery stores. You know what I mean? Anyway. Oh, Andrew. Interesting one here from Andrew. Wanderers to finish dead last from a Wanderers fan. Wow. Andrew, I'd love to hear your reasoning. I'm just curious to hear your reasoning. That's a hot take. That's a hot take. I'd be very surprised to see this Wanderers side finish bottom. I think they've got too many good players for that to happen. I think Angus Thurgate, huge signing for Western Sydney Wanderers. I think Costa Barbarousis is a good signing. You've still got some good players there in Pantanzopoulos, Bonatic at the back, goes back. Look, the departures are maybe a little bit worrying with Zapsford and Milanovic leaving and Priestman, but I think they've done enough to bring some decent quality to make sure they have a good season. And for me, my expectation that Wanderers will be playing final football once again. And with Alan Stajic, it's like another year in charge for Alan Stajic at Western Sydney Wanderers. He should, Wanderers fans should be hoping that they should be improving even more. So, yeah, I'd be really surprised by that. Andrew. It's a hot take indeed. Love it. We're talking about all your wild predictions are hot takes. If you've got any, feel free to throw them in the live chat, making sure to catch as many as possible. Alrighty, John here says Melbourne City are trying to play Champions League in their off-season as well, and it's not doing them any favours. Yeah, man, we did a live watch link for that game last week, and yeah, you could tell they were a little bit rusty, Melbourne City. Ooh, Campuzano. For the Golden Boots, says Chuck Meat. Campuzano, Victor Campuzano. New striker at Sydney FC this season. Yeah, look, from the research that I've done, it looks like he hasn't necessarily scored all that many goals in the last couple of years. But we'll see. We'll see. He could come into the A-League and he hits the ground running. Like, it's all about as well the players that you have around you. The players that you have around you setting you up in terms of, so Campuzano, we expect to be leading the line for Sydney FC this season. Around him, Piero Kispek, potentially playing as like the attacking midfielder. Al Hassan Toure, Wallerty maybe on the wings. Of course, Joe Lolly, we shouldn't forget. With Joe Lolly there, that's always, he's always going to grab a high number of assists as well. So, yeah, that could be an interesting one. Sydney fan, man. So the Central Mariners will struggle to win a game this season. I don't think it'll be that bad, but yeah, it might be a tough season for the Mariners. But I like to think that we have enough talent to at least get a few points on the board. Andrew, just following up on that one regarding Western Sydney Wanderers potentially finishing last. Andrew says, signings aren't exciting. They don't replace the quality we've lost. Milanovic, Sapsford, Priestman, Hansenson. Also, Sturridge doesn't perform well in his second season. Ooh. Yeah, look, I mean, they definitely haven't replaced Milanovic. I think that's the concerning one. Nicholas Milanovic, Johnny Warren medal winner last season. So good. Off that right-hand side for West City Wanderers. And they haven't really signed anyone to play that position. And, I mean, Sapsford was good last season. Even Antonsen off the bench a lot last season was good. And Oscar Priestman, one of the more underrated midfielders in the league last campaign. But, I mean, Thurgate's coming in. You know, I think that's a huge, huge signing. Even Ugarkovic to provide some depth. And as well, we shouldn't forget Dylan Shikluna, who should be returning from injury at some point. At some point. We know he missed a big chunk of last season with injury, but prior to that injury, Dylan Shikluna was very, very good. So, yeah, look, they might miss out on finals, but I'd be surprised if they finish bottom 4. Ooh, Chuck with a hot take here says Adelaide in the middle of the season will have a collapse and a massive and a public fallout, says Chuck me. I mean, well, like we did see them have a massive drop off last season for Adelaide United. Can they maintain some consistency for this season? Because we shouldn't forget what a roller coaster of a season it was for Adelaide last campaign. First few months of the season, they were one of the best teams in the competition. You might remember, I think it was even January. They were like top 2. They were alongside Auckland towards the top of the ladder, and then for the second half of the season, they just completely dropped off. Very weird season for Adelaide United. And in regards to, I mean, you say public fallout there, Chuck. I mean, there's been a lot of. We know a couple months ago there was a lot of stories coming out in regards to a bit of drama going on behind the scenes at Adelaide United. We don't really know what's been going on, but I remember Travis Dodd came out with that interview talking about some a bit of drama behind the scenes. Certainly not a hot take. I think a lot of people would agree that Marvin, he certainly is one of the greatest sport mascots of all time. We love Marvin the Mariner. As Troy says, go Marvin. Ooh, Ethan, you're coming in with hot takes tonight, man. Love it. Ethan says Melbourne City, Adelaide, Western Sydney Wanderers, Macarthur all don't make finals. Yeah. I mean, I think out of those 4 teams, if I had to pick two teams to miss out on finals, probably say Adelaide, and I would probably say Macarthur. Like I think Macarthur will probably push into finals this year. I think they've actually got a really strong squad, but yeah. Yeah, but Melbourne City, like, after winning the championship, like, they haven't missed out on finals for a long time. I'm trying to remember the last time they missed out on finals. They've been there pretty consistently, haven't they? Ooh, this is a fun hot take from Chuck Meek. Says, we will see the record for the biggest scoreline in A-League history get broken this season. I mean, with last season, so many goals in the A-League, and we often get so many goals every single season. The tally seems to get higher and higher. Dude, you're putting me on the spot here. I can't remember the highest tally. It might be 5-4. I'm trying to remember a game where we got more goals than that. Doing a quick Google search here. Or if you guys know, let me know in the live chat right now. What's the A-League game that has the highest score? But we've had plenty of 5-4s from memory. Doing a quick Google search. 8-2 Newcastle Jets over Central Coast Mariners. Was that right, Newcastle Jets? Which was against Wellington Phoenix, wasn't it? Anyway, we don't like to remember that as Mariners fans. 8-2, thanks. That's right, yeah, the 8-2. There you go. So could we get 11 goals in a game? Yeah. Ethan's also doubling down on Melbourne City not making finals. Interesting. Like, maybe the concern for Melbourne City as well is juggling the Asian Champions League elite. And as we know, because it's a different format for, like, last season, Mariners were the first team to play Asian Champions League elite in the new format. and really struggled. As we know, I mean, Mariners had a really young squad, inexperienced squad last season, and struggled in the Champions League elites. But as we know, with the new format, they play 8 games in the league phase, 8 games, compared to like you would usually just play like 6. Like MacArthur this year just playing 6 in the group stage, and then the knockout stage from there. Whereas Melbourne City have to play 8 in the league phase, and then it's knockouts after that. So can this Melbourne City side, do they have the depth to juggle both the A-League and Asian Champions League elite? Thinking about that now, I'm not sure if they do. They've promoted a lot of young players this year, City. Like if you look at their squad from last week, their first Champions League elite game, a lot of young guys on the bench, inexperienced players on the bench. So I tell you what, Ethan, you might be onto something. They've still got some great players in that squad, but maybe this is a season with City. And again, like the other thing as well for City that we should highlight is this is now their 3rd attempts at the Asian Champions League elite. Well, it's now called the elite. But they've been in the Asian Champions League a couple times before and have come so close to making it to the knockouts and have missed out both times. So there's a real, I think, ambition from Melbourne City this season to make the knockout phase of the Asian Champions League elite. And they really should. They've been one of the top teams in the competition, one of the most consistent A-League men's teams for the last, 4 or 5 years now, 5, 6 years. So, yeah, maybe like they prioritise the Champions League elite and maybe they slip away a little bit in the A-League. We'll see. Ooh, SRB Sport. This is a hot take. SRB Sport with a hot take here saying Lolly will lose his starter spot at Sydney and his personal performances will drop highly and fans will start hating on him and Wolford will sell him. I mean, I'm sure Sydney FC fans will always have a great relationship with Joe Lolly. He's been fantastic for the Sky Blues ever since he arrived in Australia. In terms of whether his performances drop off, I don't know. I mean, he's not showing any signs of that. At least last season, I think he should still be strong. But I mean, whether he loses his starting spot is an interesting one. You look at maybe the players who could play that position. They've brought in Wallity, Toure, who could play out wide as well. Who else have Sydney FC got there who could probably play out wide? I mean, Reece Yuli could maybe play that wide role as well. Yeah. Oh, we've got some Socceroos hot takes. Love it. Let's branch it out as well. If you guys have any Socceroos, Matilda's hot takes, throw them in. Chuckmate says Truan, Brook, Ocon, Bonatig, Battlelardo will debut for the Socceroos this season. That's interesting, man. That's really interesting. I think Kai Truan feels like it could happen if he has another good season for City. He was called up, not that long ago. Ocon Exlar, I could see that happening as well. He should be getting regular minutes for Sydney. Lockie Brook is a fascinating one, yeah. He's a real talented player, Lockie Brook. Bonatig, again, could be in the mix. Battlelardo is that'd be a big one. He would have to really perform this season for Newcastle Jets to get a Socceroos call-up. But he's probably, for a lot of those guys, I could see them get a call-up maybe in the next couple of years. Maybe not this season, but maybe the next couple of years. But yeah, hot take indeed there, Chuck. Yeah. Hunter, I agree with you. I agree with this one. I don't think City have found a suitable replacement for Michael Tilio. Yeah, they've brought in Elbasan Rashani, who's got some decent experience playing over in Europe, who I believe is a left winger. Takeshi Kanamori played on the wing last week in the Champions League for City, but I think he's more of a central player. So it feels like the City maybe need one more winger. Yeah. Chuckmeat also says, we love Lolly. Going back to that Joe Lolly comment, says, we love Lolly. He's easily one of the best players this decade and in the league. Yeah, it's been great. He's been very, very good. Very, very good. Give us some more hot takes, folks. Don't hold back. Oh, Cody, was it Cody earlier who asked for some of my hot takes? I'll give you a hot take. Let's see. I have a feeling Melbourne Victory won't play finals this season. I think that's my hot take at this stage. I've got a feeling Melbourne Victory won't play finals this year. I think they'll slip out of the top 6. Melbourne Victory finished 5th last season, and they had an a really strong squad with great depth, and they've lost some quality players this off-season. I'm worried they slip away this campaign. I'm worried they slip away. So that's one of my hot takes at this stage. I've got a feeling Melbourne Victory slip out of the top 6. Troy asks, so whatever happened to Andrew Boot? Still out injured. Still out injured. He was out for City's game last week, but he's still there for Melbourne City. Still in the squad. Hunter with the Matildas hot take here says, I don't think Sam Kerr gets the captain's armband if she's playing for the Matildas in the AFC Cup, the Asian Cup next year, yeah. Steph Catley keeps the armband permanently and Kerr moves to being vice captain. I mean, 2 fantastic options to wear the captain's armband. Steph Catley, I mean, she certainly is a real leader of the squad at the moment as well, hey. But, I mean, Matt, I could see that happening. I mean, Sam Kerr is great to see her back playing football as well. Just recently for Chelsea, she made a second appearance back this past weekend back from injury. I feel like if she's involved, she's probably wearing the captain's armband though, you know. Ooh, how about this one from Troy? Victory will lose a 3rd consecutive grand final. Dude. Oh, dude, that would destroy Victory fans if that was to happen again. Like, that's another big talking point heading into this season. Melbourne Victory, 2 consecutive A-League men's grand final losses. I mean, dude, if they have a 3rd consecutive grand final loss would be a truly dramatic story. That would certainly be dramatic. Look, I mean, yeah, like my hot take is that maybe they'll miss out on finals, but having said that, like the squad they do have is a strong one, and some of their signings have been impressive. I think Denny Jonro, that's a great signing. I think Juan Mata will be a success at Melbourne Victory as well. So yeah, like Center 23 is here. G'day, mate. Got any hot takes, wild predictions? Drop them in the live chat. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure to hit the like button on the stream. You can also send in a super chat to make sure I catch your comment and to support the channel as well. We've had some great takes coming in. Only a few weeks until the A-League men's season kicks off. October 17 with Adelaide and Sydney, the first fixture. Cody, scrolling back earlier in the chat, Cody mentioned that I think you should do a video rating every A-League manager. Yeah, that's an interesting one, yeah. That'd be an interesting one. Chuck Meat, I mean, hey, this is the hot take. I don't know if we would classify this as a hot take, but I think this is a take that all of us would like to see come true. Chuck Meat says Western United will make a shock return next season. Hey, yeah, we hope that we hope that turns true. We hope it does because, look, Western United, it's obviously been a really tough last couple of months for that club, everyone involved, the fans, the staff, the players, everyone. Not involved in the A-Leagues this season. Hopefully everything gets sorted out and they can return. And like dude, I tell you what, if they do return, it's going to be an incredible story of resilience. So, yeah, if they are able to come back next season, that would be fantastic for Western United. Latest 23, with a comment here regarding the Sydney FC squad. Latest 23 says Sydney FC have some of the best squad depth now and a great young team, but a midfield partner for Ocon Jr. is needed. I mean, it certainly is. It feels like looking at this team for Sydney FC, yeah, the depth is looking all right. And yeah, they've gone for, like, maybe in past years, Sydney FC have had an experienced squad, maybe some older players. Think of some of the players they had last year who were, you know, relatively a little bit older in Caceres and Klamala, experienced players, Costa. And some of the signings that they brought in are younger players. Avalolity, Reece Hewley. These guys who are a lot younger in comparison. So it is certainly a more youthful team, it seems to be this year for the Sky Blues. In terms of like midfield partner there for Ocon Jr., I mean, you're probably looking at Corey Holman or Wataru Kamijo to jump into midfield there. One of those guys. But yeah, maybe they still need to sign someone else there, especially with the departure of Leo. Oh, Ethan's coming in with a grand final prediction. Love it. Grand final. The finals are always so hard to predict. Like predicting the premiers, the premiership is a little bit easier, but predicting the championship is always so tricky. But Ethan here says the 2025-26 grand final prediction: Sydney 1, Perth 0. It says Perth incredibly lucky to get to the grand final, but a goal from Kispe wins it for them. Ethan, that's an interesting one. I mean, Perth to the grand final, wouldn't that be a story for them this season after picking up the wooden spoon last campaign? And I'll tell you what, I don't know, if, like, Sydney FC fans in the live chat, are you sort of expecting your team to potentially make a grand final push this year? That'd be an interesting one. Ooh, Chuck Meat says Western, if they do come back, need to change their name and probably relocate the club. I don't know how I feel about that one. I like what they've been building out in the west of Melbourne there in Tarneet. Hopefully, they've had those plans to build that nice stadium, and hopefully it happens. It would be cool to have a stadium like that. G'day, William. Love this take. Says with the signing of Garuccio, they now have the best back four in the league: Ryan Grant, Tisserand, Alex Grant, and Garuccio. William, it's an interesting one. I would love to dive into it because very experienced back four there. You've got a lot of A-League experience in that back four. Ryan Grant, Alex Grant, Ben Garuccio, so much A-League experience. Marcel Tisserand bringing his experience from around the world, playing at some top leagues in Europe. So in regards to whether it's one of the best back fours in the league, it's probably up there. I mean, it's definitely in the top half. And yeah, now that I'm thinking you're making me think about it, William, because thinking about that back four now for Sydney FC, might well see that solid backline might well see them push into finals this year. And that's really where it went wrong for Sydney FC. They had so many star players in attack and in midfield, but they were lacking that quality at the back. So yeah, well, what do you guys think? One of the best back fours in the league. G'day, Spencer, who says Brisbane Roar champions 2025. I mean, look, yeah, I get like a lot of positive energy it seems to be around Brisbane Roar at the moment, which is great to see for a club who has struggled in recent years. Wouldn't that be something if they were to go all the way and win the championship this year? That would be something. That would be something. But I will acknowledge that there is a good vibe around Brisbane at the moment. Alrighty. Troy says, shame that Douglas Costa is gone. He was good. He was very good. Yeah, he was very, very good. Like, we should really acknowledge that in the A-League, we've had some big-name marquee players come in who have obviously, like, there's a long list of them, unfortunately, that have really struggled in the A-League. And look, a lot of that is down to injury, but it just didn't quite work out for them in the A-League. Douglas Costa was one of the most successful marquees the A-League has ever had because he did very well. He did great. Bunch of goals, bunch of assists. Scored a few cracking goals as well. And played a decent amount of football. Did miss, a bunch of games due to injury, but he was pretty involved last year for Sydney. So it's a shame that he won't be returning. It is a shame. Alrighty. G'day, Dane. Jumping into the live chat here. Dane says the Jets seem to be backing a lot of their local talent this season. That will serve them well, and they'll really push for finals. Yeah, I mean, it feels like, again, similar to sort of Brisbane, as I was saying a moment ago. There seems to be a good vibe around Newcastle Jets at the moment. New head coach Mark Milligan qualified for the Australia Cup final, which is being played in a couple of weeks' time. We will be doing a live watch-along for that game as well on October 4. Taking on Heidelberg United, chance for silverware. Huge game there for Newcastle Jets, obviously. And as you say there, Dane, the local talent. I mean, Xavier Burton-Shello, that's his name, right? Xavier Burton-Shello, who's been playing on the left wing for Newcastle Jets in this Australia Cup run, has really impressed me. I got out to 2 of Newcastle's games in their Australia Cup run. I was at the round of 16 game against Cooks Hill United, and we did a matchday vlog here on the channel as well for the quarterfinal against MacArthur. And Burton-Shello started both of those games and was very, very good. Very, 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 very good. Scored in the semi-final as well. Young Max Cooper has been good at the back as well. Christian Bracker. I mean, yeah, like in regards that when it comes to like exciting young players coming through, there's a few clubs that spring to mind. Adelaide United, Central Coast Mariners, even the last few years, Sydney FC have produced some fantastic young players. Newcastle Jets haven't really been associated with that sort of trend. You know what I mean? Like when you think of young players coming through the A-League, you don't necessarily think of Newcastle Jets as one of the first options there. But yeah, this might be a really exciting era for Newcastle Jets where they have a really strong group of young players coming through. Sort of similar to what we saw from Central Coast Mariners in the last few years, where Mariners had the likes of Jacob Farrell, Josh Nisbet, Max Ballard, Dan Hall, the list goes on, Harry Steele, come through the academy and perform for the Mariners and earn them silverware. I mean, could we be seeing, like I probably shouldn't be saying this being a Mariners fan, but who knows, maybe that could be a similar story for Newcastle Jets coming up. More hot takes coming in. Mr. Sirix here saying Perth Glory make finals this year. Look, yeah, I think at this stage it still is a hot take. Yes, I think it is. Perth Glory, yes, they have made some big signings. Brian Kaltak, Scott Wootton, Jaden Kaczarski, Mark Birigidi back in the A-League. Will they make finals? Big question mark. I think it's still a hot take. Yeah. Ooh, Spencer here says, actual hot take. A big name Socceroo will join an A-League club. Spencer says, I could see an A-Will Mobile or Mitch Duke. That'd be great to see either of those guys back in the A-League. Yeah. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. I hope it comes true. Harvinho, g'day man, says the Raw will make the top 6 this season. Have looked incredible in pre-season. Yeah, it feels like the two teams, and this has been interesting tonight. We've learned a lot tonight, this live stream. I mean, a lot of people bringing up Newcastle Jets and Brisbane Roar and Perth Glory as well as teams who could actually push into the top 6 this year. Brisbane Roar, as you say there, Harvinho, have looked incredible in pre-season. The results have been there. I haven't been able to watch any of their games. Obviously, they're playing up in Queensland. I'm down here in New South Wales. But could they push the top 6? Very, very fascinating to see how they go to start the season. Brisbane Roar hosts Macarthur FC on the opening Friday of the A-League season. Leo Center 23 with a comment here regarding Sydney FC says Ben Garuccio is a great signing because Zach De Jesus is not good enough as backup for Courtney Perkins and King. Now that Joel and Geordie are backups, the depth in defence is good. It's looking very good. It's looking very good, the defensive depth there for Sydney FC. Yeah, Ben Garuccio, big signing there for Sky Blues, in my opinion. Alrighty, Hunter here with a comment as well, as we were talking about a moment ago on those Newcastle Jets youngsters coming through the season. Says Burton, Cello, Nunes, Bracco, Cooper, Fryer will come through the Jets Academy and may be a top club this season in using their academy. Yeah, dude, like it's working for them. And sometimes in the A-League, that's where you find that success. As a Mariners fan, that's what we saw a couple of years ago, winning the treble. That team, that successful team for the Mariners a couple of years ago, was a mixture of super talented young players who have come through our own academy and, you know, really smartly making intelligent signings to, you know, fill in the gaps as well. And I think Newcastle Jets may have well found that balance. They've got those young guys coming through, as you say there, Hunter. They've re-signed Kota Mizunuma, Max Burgess and Badalado coming in. Joe Shaughnessy, Irish centre-back. We'll see how he goes this season. But Newcastle Jets, yeah, they've got that balance. And could it lead to success for them this season? A lot of you guys in the live chat tonight seem to think so. G'day, Anonymous. Mariners bottom 6 this year. Look, I like to think that I'm a more optimistic Mariners fan than I'm a... Yeah, I feel like I'm a relatively optimistic Mariners fan. But yeah, I think that we'll probably miss out on finals again this year, but hopefully this is a season where a lot of young players in the Mariners just continue to develop and get better and better. Yeah. So if we can avoid the bottom 4. If we can avoid the bottom 4, that's the goal. Alrighty. We've got some great comments coming in. We're going to be live for the next 10 minutes or so before we wrap up here tonight. Chuck Mick says, as a Sydney fan, we have strengthened our defence. Says, rely well, but Talay's football makes us so leaky at the back. Wouldn't be surprised if we miss out again, but still score a lot of goals. I mean, yeah, you would hope with these defensive signings that Sydney FC do improve at the back. Yeah, but as you say, they're Chuck Mick. Like maybe it is Ufuk Talay's system of play that needs to change, perhaps. Leo Center 23 says, Raw won't make the top 6. So Sydney beat Raw with a young squad and none of our new visa signings played in that match. Spencer's coming in here with a ladder prediction. Always love seeing your ladder predictions. I will be doing a ladder prediction video in a few weeks' time, closer to the season. Spencer coming in here saying Sydney will finish top. That's big. That's a hot take, man. Like Sydney FC always pushing for silverware every year, but pushing to the Premier's play. It's a big one. I mean, I predicted Sydney FC to win the Premier's plate last season. They didn't even make the top 6. Spencer here also says Auckland in 2nd, Victory 3rd, City 4th, Brisbane in 5th, Newcastle 6th, Macarthur, Adelaide, Mariners, Wanderers, Wellington, Perth to miss out on finals. Yeah, I mean, again, I think hot take to see Brisbane and Newcastle in the top 6. That would be interesting. I've seen a few people predicting Wanderers to miss out on finals this year. It's interesting. Speaking of Wanderers, Harvinio asks, what do you think about the Wanderers? They have made some decent signings and also lost some crucial players. Yeah, I agree with your comment there. Yes. I think they will play finals once again this season. I think while the departures of Milanovic, Sapsvid and Priestman are big departures there, the signings of Thurgate, Barbarousis, Garkovic coming in, good signings. I think they're good signings. So I think Wanderers will be all right. And the players who are already there, who haven't left, shouldn't forget about those guys. Very good squad. Ooh, Hunter with an Australia Cup. An Australia Cup hot take here. Hunter here says next year's Australia Cup will have even more cup sets than this year's, possibly even an all NPL final. I mean, Hunter, I could see that happening, and I think a big reason why that could happen, where NPL teams push the A-League teams even further, is because of the Australian Championship. I'm sure a lot of you guys, we're all excited about the Australian Championship, the first season of it kicking off in October as well. So, yeah, man, these teams are just getting better and better. Heidelberg United, so good this Australia Cup run, making it through to the final itself. Avondale FC, very, very good. Olympic Kingsway defeating Old Victory as well. Ooh, Chuck Meeks says Bruno Fonioli is the best player to never win the A-League. I'm trying to remember if he has won any trophies. He would have won an Australia Cup, right? I feel like he won the Australia Cup with Melbourne City back in the day. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I actually didn't know that Bruno Fonioli never won the A-League, but now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, of course. G'day, Lawrence, who says Perth Glory to be a dark horse of the A-League, possibly making semi-finals and final. Yeah, I mean, you look at it seems to happen every year with Perth Glory, where they make a lot of exciting signings, and a lot of fans feel like they could really push into the top 6 this year. Very curious to see how they go start with the season. G'day, Lucky TV Show says, I think the ladder is going to be very tight this year. I mean, yeah, it should be. I hope it is. And hopefully we don't have what we had last year, where we had Brisbane and Perth Glory really struggling towards the bottom. The big gap between those two teams and the rest for a lot of last season. So I don't think we'll have that this year. I don't think there'll be a couple of teams at the bottom really sort of dropping away. I hope it'll be competitive. Yeah. All right, we're going to wrap up in about 5 minutes or so. If you have any more questions, this is your last chance. Hot takes, throw them in the live chat. Make sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Really appreciate you guys joining us here. We were live this time last week as well, Monday evening last week for our A-League Men's transfer deadline day. And a bunch of you guys joined us for that one as well. So we're going to, we're trialing a new sort of Monday evening live stream series. So if you're keen on a Monday night live stream, every single Monday night, let us know as well. Ooh. Lawrence here as well with another Perth Glory comment. Says Diego Castro, the greatest A-League player of all time. Ability and time in the A-League. He's one of the best, that's for sure. Yeah, he's up there. He's up there, Lawrence. I don't know if I would go as far to say he's the best. I feel like Thomas Pruitt's probably still number one. But Diego Castro was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And again, like to think that he was, what, mid-30s, like was he in his late 30s when he was still playing in the A-League, and he was fantastic. Leo Center 23 says Sydney FC to finish 4th and to win the grand final. That'd be a great season for the Sky Blues. Sam says, hot take is the Jets season will be more consistent than the past. I mean, that'll be a good start for Jets, because that's something that's really let them down in so many years gone by, is that consistency. They've lacked that consistency. There's been times over recent years where Jets have looked good for a couple of games here and there, but they can't seem to back it up. So if Mike Milligan can establish some consistency with Newcastle Jets, that'll be huge. That'll be huge. Ooh, SLB Sport with an interesting one here. It says Paul Izzo will go to Western Sydney Wanderers next year and win the final with them and send the RBB wild while Izzo carries them. Dude, wow. I mean, yeah, I'd be very surprised if to see Paul Izzo return to the A-League even next year. This a goalkeeper who was deserved. What am I saying? He's deserved this opportunity for the Socceroos that he finally got a couple weeks ago. Yeah, he's worked so hard for so many years now playing his football over in Randers in Denmark, and finally got that first start for the Socceroos. Started both games against New Zealand and was so good in those games. Chuck, mate, I agree with this one here. Not a lot of people have spoken about MacArthur FC tonight. Chuck says MacArthur is being slept on. They will shock a few people. I agree. I think they're a team who people are sort of just writing off, not really acknowledging MacArthur, but they've made some big signings. Anthony Caceres coming in, new striker Ji Dong-won, Callum Talbot, Harry Politidis as well. I think they'll be good this year, the Bulls. I think they'll be very, very good. Yeah. Hunter as well, highlighting that Newcastle Jets will be a dark horse for the top 4. Yeah. It feels like, yeah, again, a lot of you guys, this has been really interesting tonight. A lot of you guys have mentioned Newcastle Jets, Brisbane Roar, and Perth Glory. I think they're sort of taking the dark horse title in terms of those sides who struggled last season, finished outside the 6, and who could maybe push up. No one's really spoken about Wellington. No one's really spoken about Mariners like pushing up, but yeah, a lot of you guys have brought up Newcastle, Brisbane, and Perth, which is interesting. Wrapping up in a couple of minutes here. Lawrence, I do agree with this one. Says Glory still hasn't replaced Castro, and it's been 6 years or so. Shows his impact in the league, and for Glory, as we've had 4 wooden spoons since he left. Yeah, that's something I remember saying. Yeah, ages ago. We've been doing Oswald Football, formerly known as Coastwood Football. We've been doing this channel here for a few years now, and I remember saying that a few years back. That was one of the big things for Perth Glory. They hadn't really replaced Diego Castro. It feels like even now they're still lacking that exciting, attacking, creative midfielder. Yeah. Lisa 23 says if Abubakar stayed at Brisbane, they might have had a chance. He was very good second half of last season. Sure, Raw fans would have loved for him to have stuck around. Ooh, Hamish, love this one. Says my take. If Joel Griffiths played in the modern A-League, he would have rivaled Jamie McLaren for all-time scorer. Yeah, I mean, he was great. He was very good for the Jets back in the day. That is an interesting one, Hamish, that's for sure. Sam, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a hot take. Love this one. Sam says Riley McGree's scorpion kick goal is the greatest goal in the A-League in A-League history, and nothing will ever top it. You might be right, Sam. Look, Jordan Lawton's goal for Western United last season comes very close to me. I think Jordan Lawton's goal might be number 2 behind that. Jordan Lawton's goal for Western United away to Perth Glory last season. After this live stream, go and check it out again. Incredible goal. But Riley McGree's scorpion kick, yeah, that'll be remembered forever. It'll be remembered forever. All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up there. I really appreciate you joining us and tuning in for this live stream, talking about all of your hot takes, wild predictions. We had a lot of interesting ones coming in the live chat tonight. So if you guys are keen for this format, we're thinking of making this a regular thing on Monday evenings, even during the A-League season on Mondays, so we can discuss the past weekend's matches. So if that's something that you would enjoy and you're enjoying sort of discussing the A-League here with fellow fans, fellow supporters, let me know. Jump in the comments, jump in the live chat. Let me know. Hit the like button and stay subscribed if you want to stick around for that kind of thing. We are all about creating a community of like-minded football fans. We're all about growing the game down under. And I appreciate you guys joining us here for this live stream tonight. As EB Gamer 10 says, yep, would really love it. As Leo Center 23 says, yep, Monday chats. That's right. And who knows, maybe that'll be the name. Monday chats. Monday A-League chats here with you guys. All right, guys, we're going to jump off there. Enjoy the rest of your weeks. Have a good one. And, hey, we'll see you next week, hey? Cheers, guys.